Hello, friends, and welcome to MyKurrentTV. This new episode is going to cover a few things I've noticed during the weekend because I didn't have the time to sit there and do videos on each one. So we're going to talk about Hasan Minhaj and his making news for an interview he did last year with Vanity Fair. Seems to be really popular this time of year. And his take on Shepard. What did he say about Shepard? Well, guess what? You're going to find out. It's time for MyKurrentTV. Welcome back. So what we're talking about is how Hasan Minhaj was actually on Vanity Fair doing an interview and a polygraph test. And what ended up happening was he was asked about Shepard, who had said that Hasan was a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. And Hasan said that he felt that Shepard was a 6.5 out of 10 and that he felt he was more attractive than Shepard. And then he went on to further say that, as somebody who's an actor of color in Hollywood, in terms of looks, you have to be that much better looking than your white counterparts. Because if you aren't, then you don't get the roles that you are, looking for per se. And that if you are an actor in Hollywood that's an actor of color, you have to, really, 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 have the body and the face and the talent and all that is not necessarily required for people who, well, aren't of color. So I'm going to have you guys take a look at this clip right here, and I'll have you look at people's reactions, and we'll come back to the rest of our discussion.
When referring to your good looks, this man, Shepard, called you a 9 out of 10. Does it bother you that he didn't call you a 10?
No. I think that he was going way too high.
Do you know how you would rate him?
That's not fair. That's not a fair... Okay, you guys really did your research for this. Because you had to listen to the podcast. I would give Dax... I have to give a number? 6.57.
Harsh. Wow.
Okay, Dax is part of a thing where in show business, there's this whole movement of like approachable white dudes. Whereas with like men of color, it's like Idris Elba, Henry Golding, Zayn Malik, or you work in IT. There's no middle. You know how there's a whole class of white dudes of just like schlubby dudes who went to high school with me, but now made it in showbiz? There's no like that. You gotta have like the V taper in your abs if you're gonna be Asian, and you gotta be like Daniel Day Kim. Have you seen that photo where he flexes his pecs like this and he can hold the pencil? You gotta be Daniel Day Kim ripped. Like, you can't ever have bread or cereal.
So do you think you're better looking than Dax?
Do I think? Yes, I'm looking at Dax, yes. Yes, but I will not get the same opportunities that Dax does. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Dax. I'm really sorry.
How many Caucasian seconds must pass before it's time for me to speak the truth?
You saw that, and again, he's on the money with that. And it's funny that people can he about that, but it's a real thing. Minhaj, his last name is just indeed that.
And it's Hasan Minhaj.
No.
Yes.
No.
Really?
Well, my name is Hasan Minhaj.
Oh.
I want to do this. I actually want to do this on national television.
Good, please, because everyone that says your name says Hasan Minhaj.
Yeah, but the real way you pronounce it, and this is a big deal because my parents are here, it's Hasan Minhaj. And people always mispronounce it. They're always like, Hasan Minhaj, Hussein. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce it. Meet my son, Higsby Witherthrottle III. And I'm like, how do you not pronounce Hasan? Try it.
All right, Hasan Minhaj.
No, that's not.
No.
It shouldn't be changed for convenience or for the sake of, making people feel better about, this, that, and the third. I used to work at Walt Disney World, and I work with a lot of people who are international. And you see it a lot where, particularly with Asians, that, the names are hard to pronounce for them, so they use an English-sounding name. I knew this one girl, her name was Ding Sa Chien, and they called her Daisy. Another girl, her name was Hom Die, and they called her Heidi. And another girl, her name was Newton-Marie, and they called her Peach, and Panchapan was just Pan. And it speaks to a larger issue where you basically, if you are to make it anywhere in America or anywhere in an English-speaking country, your ethnicity, your uniqueness, as it were, has to be sanitized. And for me, I find it very, very irritating to come up to somebody who I know is not of English extraction, and I ask you your name, and their first impulse is to make their name sound more Americanized, which is why I say no. What is your proper name? So again, he was on the money with that. Even my last name is Kennedy. It's actually a derivative of the Gaelic name Kinadja. Okay, basically it goes across the board, and it's one of those things where it's like, we need to do better. We need to, celebrate the fact these people are different, what have you, and this shouldn't be something that we have to sit and sweep out the rug for the sake of comfortability. Now, moving on to these actors, who are leading roles or who have, good money, things like that, whatever, and even though they're not terribly good looking, whereas, to be a minority, you have to be fantastic looking. You can look at people like Adam Sandler. You can look at people like Adrian Brody, who I love in The Pianist, but let's be real here, he's not attractive like that. You look at Dax Shepard himself. I loved him in Idiocracy. I loved him as a Thor, but, he's not all that good looking. Seth Rogen isn't all that good looking. They're not. Whereas you see, like, when you think of, leading black, brown, Asian, people, you think of the Michael B. Jordans, who are ripped and jacked and stacked, and Shamar Moores, who are light-skinned, who are racially ambiguous, which is another story for another day. You think of Idris Elba, who just, is just transcendently sexy. You think of, Morris Chestnut, who's all the way together and all that stuff like that. You think of Daniel Day Kim, who, like, to Minhaj's point, has cast iron pecs and just like bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? And you look at Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians, who also is Asian, but also doesn't really have Asiatic features like that. And it comes back to this idea that you have to, in order to be, as Chris Rock said, you have to fly to what a white guy can walk to. You have to be the exception to the rule. You have to be uncommonly good looking. You have to be uncommonly attractive, and it's kind of a sad thing. And especially when it comes to black people, you also get the people, and Asian people, you also get the people who like to look at you and think that because of your ethnicity, you're going to come with certain traits that they're going to find pleasing. For instance, we look at Jeannie Mai, who said this on The Real.
Yeah.
You dated black guys.
Loved black guys. Yeah. I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. That's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
Because she lightweight offensive. I am
I'm not. I'm saying, like, I really do think black men are attractive. I do. Like, that's my...
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey.
That's...
You know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
How did you say it?
I'm just saying, like, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
You like your main man to be white and your side piece to be dark.
That is not what I mean.
Explain what you mean.
Okay,
what
I meant is, like, I used to date black men, okay? I think they're attractive. But what I decided to stick to, because it just kept me happiest, was my man, Freddie, who happens to be white.
Are you sure?
Yes!
Okay.
You saw that where she says basically where she likes dark meat, but it's like kind of like a hidden secret, whatever. Where the white meat keeps her strong and lean, even though she's now with a black guy and they're engaged, and he's like, oh well, she knows more E40 than I do, and she eats chitlins, blah blah blah. But it doesn't change the fact that that was a very fetishist comment, and it was actually just an ignorant, stupid comment that I don't care what she says. That was not taken out of context. She said those words, and I doubt the real edited it that way to make her look like that. Because if they did, I doubt she'd still be on that show. And it speaks to a broader issue where basically we're not seen as whole people all the time. We're seen as, oh well, you know, you're nice with a few body parts, whatever, as opposed to say, oh, you're attractive overall. For me, look at me. I'm a very average looking person. I'm not stunning. I'm not ugly. I'm just very average looking. There's no way I could sit there and be leading man of a movie, you know, series or movie franchise or anything like that, looking like the way I do. If I were white, it'd be a different story. Look at Adam Driver. He's Kylo Ren. Not terribly attractive. Just not, you know. And it also goes the same thing with Asians. You know, like a lot of people fetishize Asians, and they sit there and say, oh, because, you know, Asian women look so young and innocent looking and all this stuff, whatever, you know, they're objects people want to acquire. And it's like, that's not how this works. It's disrespectful to the Asian culture because they assume that they're, you know, Asiatic marriages go, they're being submissive. It's quite disgusting. And it's like, you know, it's just a bigger issue, you know, looking at white exceptionism and Eurocentric measures of beauty, like, you know, or even standards of behavior. Because you look at, you know, Barack Obama, you know, to me, he's not terribly good looking. He's not ugly. He's just not terribly good looking to me. But people have said before, like Harry Reid says, he is a black guy who doesn't possess the Negro dialect, and therefore it's easier for white people to get behind him. You see what I mean? Like, in order for black people to move in spaces where white people are dominating in it, you have to essentially either be exceptional looking or be of exceptional mind and attitude, and you cannot speak in a way where they think that because you're black, you're supposed to speak or going to speak. You follow me? And it just makes, you know, a bigger issue. You know, we can keep going on and on about this. We can talk about how, you know, light skin is considered better than dark skin, how you could be a mediocre light skinned person and still get over on a good looking dark skinned person. It can just go on and on and on. But the point and the substance of what he was saying was actually correct. There is this Eurocentric idea of behavior and beauty, and it's prevalent everywhere in Hollywood, everyday life, so on and so forth. And we need more people to use their platforms to speak on these issues, because these issues have not gone away. Racism is still alive and well, and you may not be racist, but the prejudice is also still there. So you need to sit there and look at that just a little bit harder and think how you feel in certain things. Like, I remember I had somebody tell me once they don't go for black guys because black guys, you know, have no ambition, their credit's bad, so on and so forth. But they'll go for older white guys, usually heavyset white guys, because they have goals and ambition and drive. And I actually had somebody who used to be a friend say that, oh well, you're attracted for a black guy, and with the indication being that black people aren't attractive. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. That's what I think about it. I think Hasan was won the money, and I must say, like, I was shocked to find out Hasan Minhaj was trending, because I thought that was going to be Hasan Piker, formerly of the Young Turks fame. So hey, cool. But tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel about this. Tell me if you think there's a large issue to be explored here. Tell me if you thought that what he said was, you know, bad or good. I didn't think it was anything, you know, horrible, so I was surprised that it became a trending topic again, but it did speak to a larger issue that people need to discuss. So tell me what you think.